All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Aether Hour. This time we have a very special episode because we are being joined by some of our voice actors in the game. So today we are joined by Daniel, who is voicing Needles, as well as apparently like 45 other characters. And our and our main protagonist, Gia, is being voiced by Rhiannon, who is with us as well. So this will be a really fun conversation, especially I was saying to them off camera, like, I've been really out of the loop in terms of how the voice acting process works. So it'll be fun to kind of hear about their experience and how this all works together. And the reason we also have Duane and Tyler on with us again is because they were kind of on camera with them constantly, as far as I know, right? You guys were like in the booth, so to speak, digitally, consulting on how everything should sound. So, yeah, this will be a fun one. Let's just jump right into it. So, guys, in terms of getting into your character, how did that process go? Because our game is like 1930s noir. I'm sure that's maybe a little bit different of a vibe than what you're used to. I know, when you think of 1930s, you're thinking of something very specific in your mind right off the bat, even before seeing our game. So did you guys do any like research beforehand? Did you come in kind of blind? Did you like really know what you're getting yourself into? What did that kind of look like?
Oh, thanks. I'm going to be 100% honest.
Yeah.
Every time, like when I first got the audition and I sort of heard and read G, I went, "Oh, sweet, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?" um,
Amazing.
like that's my like touchstone at my early childhood touchstone before, and even from there it goes to like TNG, the episodes where Picard was pretend,
Yes.
when he's emulating that he's in a noir. So like those are my touch points. Excuse my raspy voice.
No worries.
So I would
I have
like to
that
say
comic. I even have the.
That's cool.
Yeah.
yes, that's it exactly. So that's where my brain
Dixon
went.
Hill.
And also as a kid, I, without any sort of prompting, had sort of written a one-woman show about a chicken who was a noir protagonist, and
Wow.
staged it in my school. So I went back into that guy. Wowzers.
It's such a weird coincidence. I've also written a chicken-based noir. We're seeing a through line here in voice actors.
But anyway, so I would like to say I did a whole lot of research, but I'm going to be honest, I kind of went with my gut, and I read the audition and went, that was really fun.
Yeah.
Oh, well, like, because you kind of assume you're not going to get it, because most auditions you don't get. So I was really surprised and super chuffed when I did. But yeah, that's my rant.
Was
Daniel?
there anything in your audition that you did specifically in terms of like your tone of voice or like your thought process? Or was it just kind of like, this is how I generally think a noir person sounds, a 1930s New Yorker, like...
Yeah, I mean, I definitely led into the tropes. I was like, because there was narrator dialogue and there was also some Gia dialogue, and I knew I wanted to separate those, but just a little. I did think, from a gaming perspective, as a gamer, I know narrators, if a narrator's talking a lot, they get annoying real fast, unless they're quite neutral to a degree. Like, you don't want them to be boring or plain, but also I knew the tone had to be something that you could listen to for a while. Same with like audiobooks, like you don't want anything that's too sporadic, and then her speaking voice could have a bit more bite, a bit more character, a little bit more edge, and yeah, there was character art.
Okay.
There was character art for the audition. That's a big thing. That I'm a very visual person, so I
How
wish
did
I could
the
break it
character
down more.
influence it, the art?
Oh, she looked badass. She looked so cool, and collected. I loved her like waistcoat. And but she also looked very put together and like in control. So I think I kept her very contained and in charge of the situation as a result. Very clean cut, but also I think she had the scar, and that was visible. And I was like, oh, she's been in some stuff. She's been in some situations, so I want her to have that sense. So yeah, I guess that sort of all came together to form that initial read.
That's awesome. Daniel, did you get any character art before your audition?
I did.
Okay.
I did. The side for mine, I did get that, and it helps shape it a little bit. For me, what I find helps is I believe that stories are told through characters and relationships, and Needles is like, I feel like Needles' existence, like in the narrative, revolves around Gia. And the way that that was set up in the audition in particular was essentially like this person who has been a rival, an ally, something more, but not necessarily something defined, has just walked back into your life for the first time that you haven't seen. And I just took that idea of just like being blindsided by something you did not expect and just went with that. And it's the same thing like Ree said, is like a lot of the times with auditions, you don't expect to get it. So you just go, eh. And a lot of the times when I connect with a character, I go, okay, I see what you wrote. I see where you're going with this. Now I'm kind of just going to make a lot of it up and I'm sorry. And that's what I did with Needles, was I was like, okay, now he's a smoker. And now he's really stressed out because this person has just walked into his life. And I just took that and ruminated on it for a while and then came back to the script. And it just felt like Needles fit at that point.
Yeah, well, what's kind of interesting too is like Needles' voice in particular needs to be like totally over exaggerated to like give him that like side character flair, and kind of like you were saying, Rhiannon, like even though you know the monologuing is a little bit more like kind of neutral, like Gia does have like kind of ups and downs, but in general, just as a character, she is kind of more like put together, as you sort of said. So like have you guys had to, in other gigs, like go into these like crazy dynamic ranges? Do you feel like this like came really like naturally in terms of the way you were approaching this character? Like did it feel more like you, or did it feel more like you were being like someone else with each of your and Daniel, you had a lot more characters than I think Rhiannon did as well to mess around with.
Yeah, I guess I'll take this one to start. For me, when it comes to like characters, like a lot of the side characters we had, because we had to fill up the slot. That was one of the magic things about getting the logistics of voice acting. Is okay. Well, we signed you for this many hours. We need to fill it. We don't have 45 minutes. We're gonna give you 2 hours.
Gotcha.
So a lot of the times for those side characters, it's like, okay, where are we? What is the relationship with the person they're talking to? What's around them? Go. Also, write in a New York accent if you can. And then just bringing in another one of those.
Yeah.
For me, I like to find a seed of truth that I can really dig into. So I find sides of myself in these characters that I do.
Okay.
I love video game characters because it's like, honestly, I feel like video games is probably the biggest opportunity where we can really paint as artists and display who these characters are. And I feel like a lot of that comes from our own, you know, what you're actually going through yourself or what you've gone through in the past. And so that's my favorite. As far as, you know, the range of Needles is, he sat really close in the pocket to me as far as like Needles, and a lot of characters I enjoy are very much the, what if you chose the wrong answer? Like when you're playing Fallout and you know it's not the right answer. It's like, what if you chose that one? And that's how Needles felt to me, was like, yeah, he'd probably say that one just because he knows it's funny and it means he'd win.
Yeah.
So that was very much what I used to go with, or what I used to go with him.
Gotcha. So, Rhiannon, especially for you, in terms of connecting with Gia, did you feel like there were certain things that you know, put yourself into the character? Because I mean, she's like the good guy, but she's also doing some seedy things. I mean, I feel like all the characters in the game are kind of doing some wishy-washy sort of things. So how did that feel?
Neutral good.
Yeah. How did that sort of feel to, like, you know, put yourself into that character?
Excuse me. Gia is who I wish I was. No, okay. I'm soft and I cry really. I'm closer to Nelly by far as a person.
Okay.
Than I think to Gia. Gia is definitely the kind of girl that she's a dream role because, like, I desperately want to pretend I am Gia. That I could be that cool, that together, that rebellious, and not a rule follower all the time out of fear. And, gosh, Daniel, you're so articulate and your answers are so, like, rooted in good acting. And I'm like, I went with my gut.
I mean, that's it. That's really it. Is just like, there's the fancy way of putting it. But it's like, I don't know. I felt it here and I felt it here and it just kind of came out.
Yeah. And obviously, I think there's interesting cultural touch points because I'm Australian. Gia is not. But in a sort of Australian lexicon and the way we carry ourselves is a lot of, I don't care. Gosh, I really had to censor like 4 times there. I don't really care. Like, oh, it's all good, mate. Whatever. Don't even worry about it. And that translates well into the noir, understated, cool, in control. So I drew on that. But otherwise, to be honest, I was really playing make believe with all my heart.
Yeah. No, I feel like sometimes that's what you got to do, right? You got to just like you got to think about what would this character do in this situation and, react to it. So that being said as well, I should mention too to the audience that they've never met each other before. And I don't think really most of our voice actors had met before. So what is that kind of like as well, especially in like modern day recording where you can't just like get a whole bunch of people sort of into a room with each other. You're kind of doing everything virtually. You're not even really talking back to the person or hearing the audio of the other voice actor that you'd be replying to. So is that a struggle? And is that something that you felt maybe Duane and Tyler were kind of stepping in to help with? Like, what does that process kind of look like?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'd say this is where Duane and Tyler were everything. Because not only did Tyler often read the lines in for me, which I really appreciated, accents and all, to give me something to bounce off, but their understanding of context and even sometimes talking about how they'd be like, "Ooh, we recorded this person and their delivery was like this," and that helps piece those puzzle bits together. That I think is crucial. I think a lot of games these days really suffer from poor direction. And that's not me just being an actor, like, blame the director, I didn't suck. But genuinely, because it's so true. We're in different rooms, we're in different time zones, different worlds, never met each other. Directors are the only people, and in this case, writers as well, who have the oversight to go, yeah, those two should align. And we don't always get it right, but it's with their guidance that we can reach a point where it maybe, hopefully, sounds like we're having a conversation.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And I should mention really quickly too that we have gotten a lot of praise for the voice acting so far. Just if you guys hadn't heard, so
That's a relief.
yeah, everything has been sounding awesome.
Oh, I know
It's
that
one of the
feeling.
best parts
I
of
know
the
that.
game, for sure.
Yeah.
I will pipe in that it's been my dream for a long time to actually have actors together in the booth acting off each other for real. But
I mean, if I wasn't told otherwise, I would think that they were actually having a conversation and
Yeah.
like doing the lines in one studio.
Yeah, it's just having actors talk over each other, and then the editors would have killed us because trying to separate the lines and stuff. You have a natural conversation, everybody's talking all at once, and it sounds more real that way. But that's not appropriate for games, so everybody's separated.
So yeah, Daniel, what was your experience like in the booth and working with Duane and Tyler?
Well, I'm a post-COVID voice actor. I've lived in this booth for 3 years. So as far as it goes, this is kind of the experience I'm used to, but it is a lot of that. It's a lot of having the context given to you from the director, from the writer, and then playing imagination. I think the beauty of being a voice actor is all that stuff your parents told you to stop doing, you just ignored, and you get to do that for a living now. And so it's just like having a lot of imagination and then going, okay, I see what you're doing. I'll give you an A, and now I'm going to see it a little differently and give you a B. And then you guess which one they're going to go with, and then you're wrong every time. They go with the other one.
Of
and
course.
That's the beauty of being a voice actor.
Oh man, that's funny.
Well, I mean, I did want to respond to the compliment with a compliment for, I think Duane and I had an exceptionally easy time working with the two of you, trying to figure out these voices. And I think, appreciate the confidence on how we helped shape things. But I think one thing that I really admired, especially with you, Rhiannon, on you took ownership of the voice, you made it your own, and by the end, I think she was just as much yours as she was ours because of how, you would be able to, you take a line or a scene and you'd be like, hey, I think this should play a little bit differently. We're able to tweak it, make it better, and I really love that collaborative process.
There were several instances that I recall, because it was to my great shame, where you would ask a question, or no, you wouldn't ask a question. Tyler and I would be like, oh, wait, what's this line from? Let's look that up. We all tab over to the original script or whatever. And you would just give us the rundown of the context. You knew the entire scene. and you already knew. And by the end of it, it was like, I think there was even one session that like we didn't even give any direction. It was just like you just ran with it. So it's really a testament to the prep that you did, and the fact that
Really
by
cool.
far and away you have like Daniel has the most roles, but as far as words spoken, like I don't know if this is a record for you, but it's probably pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
it's like
we've
300,000, north of 300,000 lines
I
of
don't
dialogue
think
in this
that
game,
amount was originally planned for either.
or expense for, or
No,
budgeted for. Nope.
no, thank you though. Very grateful to be paid. But no, thank you very much. That well, I was prepping my butt off because I knew we had so much, and I knew we didn't have time. I mean, and I'm sure Daniel gets this too. I feel deeply lucky to do my job, but also like the professional pride level is like through the roof. I did ballet as a kid, and I think that's tortured me ever since. Like, rock up, be ready, and if you're not, you'll get a hairbrush to the face. Like, so I appreciate. I'm really glad that you appreciated it. This is going to be a loop. This is getting very silly. But thank you, and yeah, that was very kind of you to say that she also feels like she's mine now, because that's a very like selfish wish, I think, for us as actors sometimes, to be like, we take ownership of a character that sometimes we don't even play that long, a character we voice for like maybe a few hours, but also then the fandom entirely associates with you. Like, the writers don't get credit. Nobody cares about the artists. No one brings them up on, social media. They're all
No.
like the voice actor, the voice actor. And I try very hard to be like, yeah, I'm a piece of it.
You're the final step to like literally bringing it to life. So I think that's where the kind of connection happens. And it's like, there's nothing more genuine than the voice. You're speaking the lines that Tyler had intended to be a certain way. I guess that's another question too, now that I think about it, is like, do you ever feel like you just had to deliver a line that was maybe a little bit different than maybe how Tyler had imagined? I'd asked him this question before, and his answer, if I can speak for you, was like sometimes they delivered a line that wasn't what I was anticipating, but it was better. So did you feel like sometimes you had to like go against what the direction was, or generally was it like, okay, this, I get what they're trying to get me to do?
Go ahead, Daniel. You take this one away.
Okay. So with Needles and the characters that I played, for the most part, they're context based on a larger piece. So
Okay.
a lot of the times I went along with that. I remember there was some stuff that we did for Needles in, I think, the last session, maybe the session before with Needles, where I don't want to give anything away, but I would say like it was a little bit more of a, I would say, closer read, and we kind of went through it, and I remember at one point we were like, that was really good. That line was really good. And it was like, I didn't even expect it. We just kind of were like, let's jam and see what happens. And that's where I love the beauty of the session.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also to add to that, casting is everything. And we got we had to go through a lot of audition deliverables for this, for all the roles across the game. And it's really funny because for most of them, like everybody's good who submits, so you don't get any real bad reads, but everybody makes a choice, or each actor makes a choice on how they're going to deliver the lines in the audition without really any direction from us except for the character description and the art. But like when we heard Rhiannon and we heard Needles, it was like we knew. It was just like, yeah, that one done. And then you get lucky that the actor is really flexible or cooperative, or doesn't even need to be flexible. I think in both of your cases, we didn't have to give very much direction. Like there were sessions where it was just like bam, 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 and you were nailing it. Some sessions where we didn't have time and we could only get one take per line, and we were literally jamming through. I think our record with Rhiannon, we got like in a 3-hour session, we got like 550 lines or something, which
Holy
is
cow.
yeah,
So much.
and they're not very many single word, like it's a noir game, so it's a lot of words. There's a lot of purple prose going on, so it's, and a lot of tongue twisters. And another thing about a good actor is they can take, and I've experienced this on several occasions, you write something and you're like, oh, I guess it works, it gets the point across, whatever. You put your head down, it's like it's functional, and then the actor delivers. It's like, oh, that's my favorite line in the game now. That does happen. So,
That's amazing. Did you guys have to think anything in particular, knowing that some of the lines you were delivering was going to be like a success state or a fail state, or I guess it was more for maybe a little bit more for Rhiannon, right?
Yes.
Did you have many alternate? I guess Needles does. Without spoiling, Needles has different scenarios as
Yeah,
well.
careful there, Nick. You're
I'm not
working
gonna
with-
I'm not gonna say anything,
Yeah.
but there are different stuff going on. Yeah. So how did you guys handle the difference between those options?
I think like any system with branching dialogue, years ago, a really great audio designer was talking to me about this and about how they go about directing actors through it, because like you have to try and keep the through line to work through sort of each possible end, and I was very hyper aware of that in this role. I feel like constantly in my brain I was like, every time I sort of paused before a line, I was going, okay, how am I going to lead in a way that makes sense with whatever, even though it was 3 lines ago now because we've done one branch
Yeah.
and now we're going to the second branch. With things like fail states, it was sometimes I get halfway through a line and I go, oh, this is a fail state.
Gotcha.
Tell her to be like, yes, it is. I'm like, sorry, I'll go back and I'll be sadder. I'll just go back and play it a little bit like, oh, this is bad. Because like sometimes you'd start, this is too upbeat for what's about to happen. So I think for me it was critical to be aware also of, because you can play Gia different ways. And so maintaining her voice, maintaining her core personality, but having times where she's a little bit more aggressive or she's a bit more of a pacifist, depending on, it's a cool story, guys. It's really cool. I'm not just saying that. I really like the writing in this game. That's another reason why I prepped so much, because I actually really enjoyed reading ahead. It was like reading my weekly like zine or something. Sitting there like, like what happens now? What's Gia up to today? So I had a great time doing that. But there was this hyper awareness of maintaining the core voice, but making sure that players who want to play her aggressively feel like she's given them that.
Yeah.
And characters who want to be like, there's also moments where she's a bit defeatist, and other times where she's really upbeat, like almost comically like, haha, whatever, like a little happy-go-lucky, keeping the core of her, but making sure as a player, how you want to express her comes out and you feel rewarded for the choices you're making. Because once again, as a player, there's nothing worse in an RPG where they're like, your choices matter and everything sounds the same, or, everything's the same color, a different color at the end, but it's all the same ending.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that too. I felt you guys out a little bit before we hopped on too. You guys are both gamers, so I think that also is good for the fans to know. I feel like in a certain sense it's a little bit important, especially with the higher level voice actors to know what video games are. They're not just whatever, an enthusiast. So I think people will be able to tell that you guys get video games, which is nice. So yeah, Daniel, what do you think about kind of having to play your character in different ways depending on scenario?
Yeah, so the lovely thing about a lot of the additional voices that I played was they are based off of whether or not Gia succeeds, and so they have to also reward. Like, if Gia does an intimidation and it works, you want that guy to wet himself. And so, like, I got to kind of play up those things a little bit. There's a lot, like, oh, I just remembered some of the, I got to voice some of the civilians or, like, lackeys that are driving cars. And it's just like, we want it rewarding if you just destroy that car. And so it's
man.
like, am I right? And, like, just really letting into those. But I say as far as voice act or video games in voice acting, it is its own thing, and you have to be aware of when you're mentioning like a mechanic or bringing something in, certain words get a little more of a post, but in a post Last of Us world, that post is so subtle. You have to think about what the player is going to get out of that and bring attention to it, but in the most organic way possible.
Press the triangle button to jump.
Yeah, press F to pay respects,
Yeah.
but like in a way where you're, we have to communicate that you're actually paying respects, not pressing F.
That's
Which
interesting.
Daniel, which of the comment did you do the applesauce or the cheese and crackers for chance?
No. No, I did not.
Okay, those are those are
I
different
don't-
combat lines, but I get a kick
I
out
don't
of
think
them.
I did.
Crackers.
Yeah, there we go.
Wait, cheese and crack? Wait, can I get that soundbite again?
Cheese and crackers.
I think that might have been me.
It
Yeah,
sounds
I think-
kind
Yep.
of like your
Applesauce.
needles.
Oh yeah, those might have been me.
Oh,
Those might have been.
applesauce. Oh, applesauce.
Yeah, it sounds like I would have done that.
Yeah, that was the jerky. Please, let's put the Jerky Boys into 1930s New York.
Oh, you're killing me.
How do you guys feel working on Aether and Iron maybe differed from other gigs you guys have had, or did it feel kind of right at home in terms of the process?
Oh. I've worked a lot of games now, and they all run very differently, if I'm honest. I mean, the set process is essentially the same, like audition, get job, do job, get paid. But the sessions themselves, I really appreciated the way the script was delivered. This is very technical for people that are interested in behind the scenes.
No, that people are. So go as technical
okay,
as you
great.
want. Yeah.
There are plenty of jobs where I don't get a script beforehand, and it really is you get into a live session and you just go, okay, sometimes I don't even know what role I am. They just get told you've booked.
Oh wow.
And you go, okay, and they don't tell you what accent or what voice. I had one of those the other day, and I was freaking out going in because I was like, what is it going to be? Because I wasn't well. But I was like, I hope it suits this sickness. It was fine. But this was like, no, you guys gave me massive amounts of background, massive amounts of script, lots of, the way the script was laid out as well as it had links to previous lines. I could tell context from the actual line. That's how I knew where we were in the script. But like often when you're like, when does this happen? I was like, because I knew from the script tag.
You
that I was
actually
like,
read
oh.
all the documentation, like the piles that the narrative team
Yeah.
created.
Yep. Well, because, like I said, I really wanted, I took it very seriously. This is a really beautiful game. And also from the second I read the writing and the noir style, it's very pretty language. Sometimes I definitely probably got a little self-indulgent. And people were probably like, come on, pick it up. You can move it faster. But what am I ranting about? I'm tired.
G is never in a hurry though, so the slow bits worked, and they, if the players get impatient, they can click through. But I think
That's
again,
true.
our ratings on some internal and external official testing went up when the VO went in, like by a substantial margin.
That's
So
good.
It was, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Super.
so
yeah.
I'll wrap on process. It was good. It was very intense, especially for Gia in that last sort of run when we were like, all right, we got to get all of Act 2 and Act 3 down. And we legged it. I felt like I'd run a marathon after, like, we do a 4-hour session. At one point we did a 6-hour session. And afterwards I like flopped on the couch. I don't think I moved for about 3 hours. It was like 1 a.m. and I was like, I'm not ready. And like my voice would still be set low and I'd feel all like noiry. And I was like, no, you have to get on with your life now. Yeah, exactly. I wanted to smoke a cigarette. I don't
Yeah.
smoke. But yeah, I think it was a uniquely creative and, for me, massive project. I've never played a role this big and I've never had that much responsibility. So that was a lot. End of.
Did you feel like you
answer.
had a bit of agency over how the character felt as well, or yeah?
Oh my gosh, yes. Tyler and Duane were lovely, and we went back and forth on things as well, and we tried different things. Some things we tried were really, really ridiculous. I don't know if they're going to make it in. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
My absolute favorite is you can interact in multiple ways with roadblock guards, for example, and Gia can go everything from like hard iron, intimidating, to airy, flirty, ditzy Marilyn Monroe, and it's Rhiannon acting as Gia acting as somebody completely that she's not. So
That's cool.
It was really fun, kind of going through those layers.
Yeah, and we played a lot, and I always felt really, really comfortable. I'll say that as well. I don't always feel comfortable in sessions. Sometimes you can get a vibe from, and this goes to as well the engineers we had, Carla and Kevin. They were fabulous. They were excellent, so on it, and tidying up all of my potty mouth I have a tendency to like freak out when I don't get a line right.
Oh yeah.
And I felt very free to be myself, and increasingly over time, and I'm very grateful that I was in a space where we could do that to help make her as real and natural as possible as well.
That's awesome. Daniel, did you feel there was much of a difference in working on this game?
You guys gave me tabs on the script. Thank you. Oh man, having tabs and context, and I could choose which way I wanted to look at the script. Oh my god, it was amazing. And the thing is, sometimes I'd feel a little different on how I wanted to touch the script, and so like that's what I did a lot when I was working with Needles, was pulling the context from them, and we'd link over to what it was, and I'd pull those in and highlight it, so that way I knew what I was looking at as we prepped for it. So that was beautiful. But I feel like each game, it's very much like Ree said, it's a little different. Like the basics are the same. You know, you're going to show up, you're going to do the session, you're going to set your gain, and then you're going to be told it's too loud or too quiet, and then you're going to have to change it again. But like the chemistry between the folks is very much what decides how it really goes, and that's different for each one. And I really enjoyed the chemistry we had, where there was a feeling of trust for the actor, but also guidance to know that we had confidence in what we were delivering, and we felt like we could have a little bit of ownership to it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's like everyone feeling like they're an expert at what they do and still respecting other people's opinions on how the product should come together as a whole. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do, is like meld everything to feel as cohesive as possible with the like overarching vision. So that's really cool to hear. It looks like we got a question. Oh, is that what you're going to say? Yeah, we got a question from Alex. It's who says, "Is there anything you do to kind of get into the mood once you figure out, okay, this is the tone for the day's writing? Like listen to certain music or go back to a scene that can get you really into a specific state of mind?" I guess like pre-prep kind of work, like motivation sort of stuff.
I have pump music. I play pump music when I get in. Just like I play something like when I'm going in for the day, whether it's auditions or whatever. I do some shadow boxing in the booth to just kind of loosen up and get ready. And whenever I'm doing a session, I specifically don't audition for boring stuff all day, because then you're stuck in narrator mode that gets to just do the same boring reads, and then you just sound terrible in a session. So yeah, that's a lot of it. I have little like things that I go to for each character that I work with, posture, items. For Needles, it was like I have prop cigarettes. I don't smoke either, but I have like prop cigarettes in the booth. And like the way I see Needles is like when Gia showed up, he did his best to stop smoking, but suddenly he picked up smoking the moment Gia came back. And so like it's a lot of this like kind of thing. And so that was one of the things that helped me ground myself in who this character was.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's sick. I listen to the Pokemon 2B Master soundtrack sometimes before my sessions to hype me up. But very specifically for Gia, in all honesty, right before the session, I'd probably spend another half hour going over the script, and I was sitting there checking pronunciations because I'm not native, but also for the Italian word or the Sicilian sort of terms we wanted to use. So I did a lot of tech prep, and then right before, if we were doing something that was there were some really intense scenes. I would sit, this sounds so boring, but I'd sort of sit there really quietly and just like go through the scene in my head and play it out. And you know, like your body starts reacting like it's happening. That's acting. Like your brain, if you make something real enough in your brain, your body will start emoting. So I would start to feel the emotions actually rising. I'd start to feel like I was a little bit choked up, and I wouldn't let myself feel it too much because I'd pull it back because I'd know we need to get there in the session later. I'd be like, well, actually, we're not there for another 50 lines. So, and then hopefully, by the time we got to that moment in the script, because I'd tapped into it recently, it was easier to go, okay, here's the scene. Here we go.
Yeah.
Just little prep. So I wouldn't say I like outright prepped with any particular music other than, like I said, the Pokemon ones that's a catch-all. I do a lot to that. It's just because it makes me feel awesome.
Yeah, it's like an emotional, mental kind of preparation, which is I think what you want out of your voice actors, to get in that zone, right? I think what could be an interesting topic to kind of slide into is how you guys got your start and how you got into this, because I know there's a lot of people that would love to be a voice actor, and this is one of those things that maybe there's not a lot of information exactly on, like a path or something like that. And I know this is probably also an industry where everyone has a little bit of a different story for how they got into it. So maybe if we can hear a bit about how you guys got your start.
You're the main character.
Okay. I came from musical theater.
Okay.
Oh my God, she's dying. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I came from musical theater and much better health, and I really enjoyed it. But then COVID happened, and also, quite frankly, I was finding it really hard to get anywhere because I wasn't that good. And that's not being self-deprecating. It's just it's a very competitive, very small industry, and I just was not at that. I worked, but I couldn't get to like the lead roles that I wanted because I just wasn't there. And then during COVID, I had a couple of friends who had worked in VO, and I was like, oh my God, I never considered that. I would love to be in games, like, because I was a gamer.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate. My partner had a steady job through the pandemic. I got some government assistance. So I was given the very, very special gift of time. So I invested it in training with a group called Gravy for the Brain, which are like an online school for voice acting based in the UK, but they also run in the US. They run the One Voice Awards, if you've ever heard of them, and the One Voice Conference. And I learned, it was great because I just paid like a little subscription fee, and they gave me like an archive of videos to watch, and it taught me how to use Pro Tools, how to edit. A friend of mine had a comedy podcast because he was a writer and he was trying to make himself work. And he started giving me more and more roles, and we would record in his toilet because that's all the space we had. And I was just having fun, and I was like, I want to do this. And through that combination of things, I just started auditioning. So through social media, so my huge recommendation is follow lots of accounts that do casting calls. I mean, be very wary, especially in the era of AI. A lot of people are out to steal your voice. So, don't just throw it out willy-nilly, but that's sort of how I got my start. And I got cast in my first game in like 2021, end of 2020, I think. And now I've done like 110 titles.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
It can happen, and it's just lots of knocking on doors and pushing yourself and training and a lot of luck.
Do you feel like you need kind of, because like I come from an artist perspective, you need a portfolio. Do you feel like you need a website with like what is like a recommendation for different types of voices, or do you kind of lean into like what you like to do and you show them like, this is what I want to do,
I mean, I could talk for days about this, so I'll try to keep it concise.
Sure.
It's tough.
It is, yeah. I'm a big fan of set yourself up a basic website, a one-page free card website even, and get a few samples up, because also people can't hire you if they don't know what you sound like. You don't need a professional demo right away, and you absolutely shouldn't. They're very expensive. And if you're not ready for it, like, don't put yourself through that. Get on like mod projects, like people making Skyrim mods and Fallout mods. I did that as well. I started just doing free mods, work with other creators who are doing little animations, indie game jams. But if you have a website that has like a handful of just clips that you can record in, by the way, like a very basic, even a USB mic to start is great, under a duvet, so you've got a little bit of sound insulation, and you do like 5 little characters that you want to do, and that maybe like 2 that you're like, this is my natural voice. Always show your natural voice, because believe it or not, people do want it. And then do like, I love crazy wizards and I'd love to be a pirate, and have fun. And I got cast in 3 projects off a pirate clip on my website.
That's awesome.
Because they just couldn't find women that would do pirate voices.
Yeah.
But when they Googled it, mine was tagged on my website, and they came up, and people don't want to look very hard. So if you make yourself accessible, they will come.
That's great advice. Daniel, how did you get into this industry?
Well, I was a child star in Hollywood. No, so I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and we don't have an acting scene here.
Okay.
When I graduated, I actually graduated college with a business management degree and a specialization in negotiation and persuasion. And now that must have gone real well, because I am a voice actor now. But the truth
Maybe
is,
the persuasion aspect.
Maybe, I don't know. I've always like found myself wanting to do something creative. So I remembered that, and then after I got out of college, instead of doing my hopes and dreams, I started selling toilet paper and urinal screens. And then I went to selling Best Buy stuff. I was the like #1 Sony TV salesman for like 2 years at Best Buy. And then I got into mortgage, and I worked in mortgage through COVID. And it got to a point where like my entire team was being like laid off, like left and right. Half the team got laid off one day, and just circumstance, I find myself on a call with the CEO the next day, and I'm like, oh, I'm finally getting fired. I'd have been expecting to get fired for like 2 years. And he's making fun of my setup because like I had a Yeti. I had like a little USB mic here. I had some headphones. And he goes, wow, with that setup, you should just be a voice actor. You shouldn't be in mortgage. So I said, F you. You know what? I will. And so like I finally did. And so like if I was giving advice to the folks out there, back in 2013 when I first was selling urinal screens and stuff, the girl I was with at the time, I was like hoping for a little bit of encouragement from someone else, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna try doing voice acting because like I auditioned for a few things, just like you said. It was like machinima as well as like a couple mods, and I booked them, and it was like, holy cow, I booked these just off the first shot. I was like, maybe I'm gonna do this, and she said, that's really effing stupid. And then I was like, you know what, you're right. And I stopped. And then it went until my first audition I sent was 2023 in January. Was the first time I actually sent an audition to do this stuff. So if I was to tell anybody how to get into this, no one's going to pick you. No one is going to tell you yes, but no one is going to tell you no. And the distance between where you are and where you want to be is only as big as you think it is. If you want to get there, invest in yourself. Take the time to do these things and just keep freaking pedaling. Be an actor first. Don't be a voice. Get a space that sounds good. Because if you want to get in the big stuff, you're not going to be able to if you go Super Saiyan and it's like you're in a bathroom. It doesn't sound good. So you can record in your closet. You can use a USB mic to start, but invest in yourself. Make those investments, step up, go from there. I used Gravy for the Brain for a little bit. That was good. My big, all right, buckle up and get in was learnvoiceacting.com, which was Joe Zija's voice acting academy. I actually work for them, so I don't want to talk too much about it. I ended up working for them after a while, but nice. They had like all the answers for me. And I was like, okay, I have no excuse. I'm going to do it. I came from a commercial background because at least here in the US, they say, well, you got to do commercial before you could do anything else. And so, like, I've done projects for, like, Old Spice, Polestar, Garmin. By happenstance, I ended up doing some promo work for Yu-Gi-Oh! Konami, which was kind of fun. And, yeah, I was Baron Bloodthorn, which was a mystery duelist that ended up being Dylan Sprouse from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I didn't even know who the mystery guy was. So I was like, cool. All right, well, Dylan's the guy. So that was really cool. But like I did a lot of those, and then I said, you know what, screw it. I really like video games. And so I just started pursuing the video game stuff. And it's just like the beauty of it for me was that, hey, video games like me back. Awesome. There was a pretty hot streak where for some reason everybody wanted my New York accent.
So is that accent in your demo reel? Is that like how you got those, or?
No. So I mean, the thing is, in this world, it's all bespoke auditions.
Okay.
As Ree said about having a demo, do not pay for a professional demo until you feel confident in your acting. Make sure that you are good at acting, because I don't care what voices you can do. I'm going to find that out in the audition. But if you can't act, you can't make me feel, you can't put me in that spot, you're not going to get booked. I'm sorry, because I need you to give me an A and a B that makes context sense. And if that doesn't work, you're just not going to do it for me. And so with those demos, the only people that usually listen to demos these days are agents. You'll get some casting directors that look for that. But if you post an audition, like if you post a casting call, you've got plenty right there. You don't need to go hunting for anybody. So yeah, the demos, it's later on down the road. It's
Gotcha.
I think booked work
sense.
goes a long way, and then being good at auditioning is huge.
Gotcha. So going forward in your guys' career, is there anything in particular you've like really been wanting to do, or would be like a kind of a dream role? I mean, Rhiannon, you already kind of said this one was, but I don't know. Is there any other thing where you're like, that would just be really sick if I landed something like that?
Well, look, Gia was the dream. I'll retire now. It's all good. There are some IPs. I hate to be that IP gal, but there are some IPs that I would love to be a part of. I would really love to be a part of Star Wars. I would love to be a part of Alien. Alien
Oh.
is like my baby that I love, and it would be a dream to work on an Alien title someday. But I'm also very like realistic. I'm like, you know what? I have a really great career and a really great life. So if that doesn't happen, I'll cry about it at night, but publicly I'll be very graceful.
Nice.
Exactly. Yeah, it's what's the most like they say the only way to be successful as a voice actor is to detach yourself from the result and love the process. And I feel like that's a big part of it because we get told no a million times more than yes. And we see those fun auditions like, oh man, you could be in the Marvel Rivals, I'll audition, and then somebody else books it and you're like, well yeah, that was obvious. So like you have to detach yourself from that. But for me, where it is like I want characters that I can just like jump into and like learn about them, and like I'm doing character analysis of them even after I've recorded them. Like Needles is so fun to think about, like how he got to where he is, and how he feels for that stuff. Those are the things I really love because I love lore and analysis. As far as like games I want to be in, I had the fortune of being a lead role not that long ago. It was my first lead role for a game called Causal Loop, which is coming out soonish. And that was really fun. So like that was kind of the first check mark, but it's not like,
Nice.
okay, cool, I've been a lead, now we're done. No. More of that, more of this. I want to be in a video game that my brother plays. That's a huge one for me. Is so that way he could pick it up and it's like, oh, there he is.
Yeah.
You know, me and my brother have gone through a lot, and it's just like I want him to hear that and know that like, hey, if you try hard, you can get there, dude.
That's cool. Have you guys had any experience needing to do like mocap or anything like that, or has it purely been just behind the booth kind of voice acting so far?
It's very
No,
location based for mocap.
Gotcha.
Yeah, hilariously, I've been booked to do some PCAP, but then both times I've come in and they've gone, nah, I just want your voice. And I was like, try not to take offense.
Yeah, no kidding.
You're like,
Yeah.
okay, fine. I would love to, but also like part of why I didn't work on stage and oh my gosh, I'm so bad on screen. I have a really like overly expressive face, which is the gift of the booth. No one can see you. So like when I'm doing Gia, she's got this perma frown. She's like this the
Yeah.
whole time, and this is not attractive on screen. Like nobody does this, but it's what I do to get there. So, you know, like especially when she's really down here and she's just talking to herself and all that. And it's like, no. So the gift of not being seen is one that I cherish. But yeah, of course it'd be nice to do some PCAP or something.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's a big learning curve to do something like that, or do you feel like you like wouldn't even know where to begin with something like that? It's an extra thing on top of your voice, right?
I mean, it's all acting. So I did do PCAP training with Target 3D in London.
Okay.
I did a 1-week course with them, and it was really good. It was great because we got to learn all the technical as well as like run around in the suits and
Yeah.
film out, you know, and like record all these characters, and it was really really fun. Once again, watching it, I was like, oh, I am so uncoordinated. I was not built for this. But it is a very different beast from sort of screen or film because of that 360 awareness. Because the thing is,
Oh.
unless you're doing maybe theater in the round, but even then you're projecting your performance to people further away. This is like an intimate 360. So every sort of twitch of like your back, your shoulders, a shift of weight, all of it is relevant.
Huh. Yeah, because they could totally swap the camera angle later, right? Like they.
Literally
Yeah.
shot from every angle. So
Yeah.
your sense of self-awareness. So I would say if anyone wants to do PCAP, if you can get into a PCAP training course in a hub city, which is expensive and really difficult if you don't live in one. So it might be a pie in the sky goal, but it's not unachievable. And I will say they do generally, like quite often want to work with people who are physical specialists. So I know a lot of athletes, dancers, people who do, stunt people. I know a lot of stunt people who work regularly in mocap, but that's because they can backflip.
That's interesting. Nice. All right, we've covered Aether and Iron. We've covered your guys' backstory. Is there anything else you guys want to specifically talk about your process? Anything we didn't quite cover yet? Any funny stories that maybe came up throughout the process? A standout line, perhaps, that you love to deliver? I don't know if you could think back after thousands of lines, but
I know there was one in the last session that we did. It was a one-line character, and we were going through. We were limited on time, and there was this one character, and I was like, okay, so who's this character? And then Tyler and Duane told me the story of this character, and I was like, wow, that's more significant than what I was going to do with this character. And I don't want to give anything away, but it was just like this total, like, he's probably a bartender or something, and it's not a big deal. It's like, nope. You need 2 minutes to think about how that line's going to be delivered. Yeah, it's tough because I can't give anything away, but it was a really fun moment of whiplash. It was just like, whoa, hold on.
have you guys gotten to play the game much yet? Or
Played
is
the demo.
Okay, cool.
I haven't touched it at all, partly because I'm afraid that I'll hear myself and I'll punch my monitor.
Oh no.
That sounds great.
Because I'll just be like, oh, I hate this chick.
See, I did the opposite. I was like, where's Needles? Where's Needles? Where's Needles? Where's Needles? And unless I screwed up, Needles isn't in the demo. So like
I
there was a lot of
assume
skipping.
not, based on the... I feel like I know the story really well now, so I'm like, no, you wouldn't be in the demo.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you should have asked me.
Yeah, you're right.
I think things that happen in the booth, I think we had some really wonderful moments where we would just break down telling nonsense stories, but also like certain lines. Sometimes I just couldn't say a line. I'd say it like 15 times and I couldn't say it. And that happens. It happens to all actors, like anyone who has to read something where words make no sense. And I'd have to mute myself and like scream bloody murder because I just needed to express myself.
Yeah.
And in the last session we did, or was it the last session before last, we did some accent work that I really want to be in the final cut. And if it isn't, I'm going to be so disappointed.
It'll be a surprise. You have to play the game to find out.
I know, now I have to play it. I
Dwayne
absolutely
has to
will.
roll his dice first, so that will be the decision.
Seriously.
Roll high, because I'm assuming high is for the accent work. And there's
Okay, add
look,
charisma.
there's so many things. See, that count? Yeah,
You
it's
got a
it.
17, so they can. Okay, so it's
Thank you.
Hey.
That's how creative decisions are made.
I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about all of the characters. I feel like I could write fan fiction about all of them.
Do it.
And maybe I have a little already. I have theories about all of their, and like this is like you said, Gia becoming me. There were moments where I was like, is Rhiannon making a choice about this or is Gia like?
Well, it'll be cool too to play the game and kind of make the decisions based on how you now would think she would kind of
This is
decide
the
things.
tricky thing because I also know what happens for certain decisions, and there are
yeah.
certain things I don't want to happen, and there are some things that I'm like, but I probably would have played it that way.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Metagaming.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, what is the
there's-
canon choice for all of Gia's decisions throughout the entire game? Like, what's the actual non-alt history version?
Oh my gosh. True. I don't know. Is it what I would do?
Maybe.
It would be interesting. Yeah, what's your perception of I guess if we had to break it down into different like categories of Gia, what do you perceive her to be like as canon? We can always cut this later if it's...
Do you know what? I think hilariously, I feel like maybe it's like it's very a mix of everything. It's not that she does take one path. And I think as a player, that's how I would do it. There would be moments where, especially early on, because I love writing a story, I'd make her much more of the dig her heels in, intimidation, sort of driven character. And then after her relationship with Nellie sort of starts to develop, I'd maybe make her a little cold initially to Nellie. I'd probably play it a little bit like resentful because she does have that thing. She wants to live in the uppers. Like, it's what she's fighting for. It's a dream. And here's this kid running away and being a pain in the neck about it. But also she's endearing as hell. Oh my gosh, I love the way they write. Every time you talk about like when, they look at her, like there's really beautiful platonic writing in this game, which is incredibly rare. to express, especially like a platonic female relationship with such warmth and love, and get to express that, like, it's beautiful, guys. You did a really good job. And
Wow, serious.
serious. So, I think that would melt my Gia, and then I think she'd probably get, and particularly in the middle, get a little bit wacky, lean into those times where she probably starts playing the Marilyn at roadblocks, and like enjoys putting on the characters, but then towards the end gets really sentimental and probably quite scared and earnest because, no spoiler alert, but the stakes get raised. So. You know, I think that's how I would play it. It'd be quite a journey.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, I think we kind of covered quite a lot. This was a really fun conversation, and thank you guys so much for joining us for this. I'm sure people that are watching are going to get a kick out of how you guys interpreted everything in your process. So, yeah, thank you so much. Do you guys have anything else you want to say or shout out, or anything for the audience to find you somewhere online, perhaps?
Good luck. If you find me, then it means you figured out how to spell my last name. Good luck.
Yeah, same, I guess. I'm on many social platforms as Rhiannon Moushall. Once again, if you can figure out how to spell it, you deserve to find me.
We'll link your guys' stuff.
Bless.
all right,
But
well.
other than that, like, play the game. Please play the game. I think this is a gem, and I'm not just like sucking up right now because I'm done. I'm paid. I don't need to be here. Like, I think it's a really good game.
Yeah, play the game 7 times. Even the demo, I was like, crap. I didn't know. I want that roll to go right now. Yeah, just you're gonna play it 15 times. It's just great. I'm on socials. You'll get the links. Do I use them? Not often, but I don't know. You see pictures of my cat.
Cool.
Sold.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. Aether Iron is coming out March 31st, so you guys can go on Steam and wishlist now. And we will be back again for another podcast next week. And also, voice actors, after launch too, if you're down, maybe you can join us again for another. We do these weekly, so it would be nice to have you guys again to talk about like at post-launch or something if you're down. So we'll keep in touch.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you guys all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.